bipartisan appreciation of your service. It's clear that we all want you to be successful for American families. The Vice Chief of Staff of the Army, General Daniel Allen, testified that, quote, based on current readiness levels, the Army can only accomplish defense planning guidance requirements at a high military risk, end of quote. General Dunford, what is your assessment of the impact on our soldiers of being able to accomplish requirements at a high military risk? How many casualties does this mean for the Army to incur when it's ordered to fight at a high military risk? How many casualties at a low military risk?
Congressman, without talking about a specific scenario, I can't talk about casualties, but when General Allen did testify and when we all testified to risk, we do look at two variables. One is the time it takes to accomplish the objectives, and then the amount of casualties that we would estimate under particular circumstances. So I think what General Allen was suggesting is that readiness translates into casualties, and I would subscribe to that as well.
And I appreciate that Colonel Paul Cook has reflected such concern and wants to work with you, obviously. And Mr. Secretary, I want to thank you for your very clear warnings about the destructive consequences of sequestration. But at the same time, the budget level in your request, how many years do you think it will take the Army to address high military risk?
Well, it's a constantly moving target, sir, because the enemy doesn't stand still. But I would just tell you that between 2019 and 2023, we intend to significantly grow the force, the Navy fleet, the Army brigades, and the fighter squadrons to reduce that risk.
And Mr. Secretary, I'm very concerned, as Ms. Cheney too. The defense budget request states, quote, the condition of mission facilities, airfields, training areas, housing, barracks, directly impacts the readiness of the units and the morale of the soldiers, civilians, and families. Yet the budget also tells us that the Army has $10.8 billion in unmet needs, the Navy at $9.5 billion short, and the Air Force is $25 billion short. How long will it take to fix these critical backlogs? 5 years, 10 years, 20 years? Will we ever be able to fix these facilities for our soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines to train for war and for their families to live?
Well, we're increasing the MILCON budget, sir. You know, as we look more broadly at this, as I said earlier, Congressman Wilson, we didn't get into this overnight, and it's going to take time to get us out of this. We were given a top line as the President's budget had to deal with a lot of priorities, and we're doing the best we can with the money that we've been given, which is an increase over what past years have committed to DOD. Is it enough? Can I give you a timeline on this? Probably not right now, but it's going in the right direction, and I think we would all agree with that, even if it's not sufficient in terms of getting us where we need to go. But the Congress has the purse strings, and if the Congress decides to fund the unfunded priority list, some of these issues are listed right there, then that money can be applied to it.
And specifically, Mr. Secretary, the Navy alone submitted unfunded requirements of more than $690 million for critical repairs to airfields, dry docks, wharves, and other facilities. Their Air Force asked for more than $850 million, the Army for $820 million. What is the explanation for the committee, and how should we accept whether the budget request is adequate when the services are asking for so much? And really, there's been a great description by Congresswoman Cheney that we're in a holding pattern. And so we want to work with you. And so how quickly can we get this done?
Well, sir, the budget's growing, so a holding pattern I don't agree with. Not sufficient to address all the shortfalls that grew over years. I'll be the first to admit that. And if the Congress sees fit to give us enough money to do all that, then we could probably do it a lot faster. But for me to give you an estimate would take a heck of a lot of analysis and a firm, stable budget horizon that we have not enjoyed in a decade.
Thank you very much again for all of you being here tonight.